physical. It is more than a friendship experience. This love is love matured. It is decisional and unconditional. It is steady, forgiving, and serving. Let me say that again. It is steady. At this point, it ain't no in and out. At this point, it ain't no up and down. At this point, it ain't, I don't know what I'm going to do. At this point, it ain't, I don't know if I really want to be with you. At this point, it ain't, you know, it's over because you did so and so, and you said such and such. No, baby, when it gets to agape, it's good and locked in place. It's steady, it is forgiving, and it is serving. At this point, it is the God kind of love. It is matured love. This love says, I love you in spite of everything and because of nothing. I love you in spite of everything and because of absolutely nothing. It is decisional. This love says, I choose to love you. I choose to love you. Got nothing to do with a situation or a circumstance. I choose to love you. So we are not just moving through the stages of relationship. We are moving through the stages of love. In other words, love should be growing as the relationship is progressing. Love should be growing as the relationship is progressing. Oh God, this is good. Watch this, watch this, watch this. And here's the key. But as the relationship is progressing through the stages, in other words, you have to go through all the stages. But as the relationship is progressing through the stages, you have to go through. For the love to grow, you have to go through all of the stages. Oh my God. To get to the love, the ultimate love that the relation needs to sustain it. Let me tell you something. Your relationship is not going to survive on eros. It is not going to survive on eros. Baby, if all you got is eros, physical, they just turn me on, it ain't going to survive. I just like to see them coming, going, touch me, kiss me, hold me, and then I'm all right, baby. If that's all you got, you are headed for disaster. It is not just going to survive on filio. They are my good friend. I like them. We don't hung out. We don't had some things, experiences together. You need more than eros and you need more than filio. It has got to get to agape because it is going to survive a marital lifetime situation, baby. If agape is not there, you are headed for disaster. Watch this. Here's the key. But in order to go through the processes of the love, you got to go through all of the stages of the. Let me tell you somehow how significant and important that is. That's so significant and important, going through all the stages. 90% of us in here didn't even know that there were stages. If you didn't know that there were stages, how in the world could you ever think you were going to survive a relationship? You were doomed from the beginning. Oh, let me help somebody in here. Y'all can look at me like you're crazy if you want to. Ignorance is not cute. The people are destroyed for a lack of. You can't do better until you know better. If this thing is based upon you getting through stages and you being able to love somebody the way that they need to be loved, and you got to go through stages, that means you got to know the stages. Well, what does it mean if you don't know the stages? You don't stand a chance. Oh, that's a good place for somebody ought to bless the Lord like they're crazy. Somebody ought to clap their hands together because God's getting ready to give you something that you didn't have, to give you something that you have never had before. Oh, my God. And I'm going to tell you why most of these relationships fall apart. It's because all we can ever get to is eros. All we we could ever get to was eros. All we could get to was physical, biological, romantic love. And as soon as the romance was over, the relationship was over. As soon as it didn't feel romantic anymore, as soon as I just feel like, you know what, I think I've fallen out of love. You know what, I don't think I love you anymore. You know, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Let me help somebody in here. That's code word for I don't know the stages. That's code word for I don't know what I'm doing. That's code word for I'm lost and I'm drowning and I need some help. There is a love that you can get through, or gives the love, the ultimate love but you've got to go through the stages. You've got to go through. He that findeth a wife. The implication is there is a process that you got to go through. Find it. There's some things that I got to do in order to be able to find that spouse. It just doesn't happen on the humbug. I got to go through some stuff. Oh, God. He says, you find a good thing. Oh, God. Anything worth having is worth working for. Anything worth having is worth processing through. You just ain't going to get something for nothing. And a lot of us have bought the dream, bought the fantasy that it's just going to happen out of the sky. The devil is a liar. I'm telling you, I know I got a tiger by a tail. I know I got a demon by a tail. I know I got a fantasy by the tail. Four stages of a relationship. You got to put some sense to this stuff. What in the world am I doing? I told y'all before, we're going to start putting up little placards or somewhere around the house. How did I get here? How did I get here? And most of us don't know in our relationship, and tail spins, it's crazy. You wrapped up and caught up. Now you dating Freddy Cougar. You know, it's a crazy situation. You don't hooked up with a witch. You don't know how in the world. Now you fighting and struggling. How do I get out of this mess? How did I get here? I'm trying to tell you, ignorance is not cute. And as it pertains to relationships, from the pulpit to the door, we have been ignorant. Not because we wanted to be ignorant. You can't do better than I told you before. We have in the church, leadership has done the church a disservice because we have not taught better as it pertains to relationships. Well, just love the Lord, and the Lord going to send them, and you going to get them, and just keep Jesus as the center, and everything is going to be all right. Touch a neighbor and tell them it take a little more than that. It take a little bit more than that. Wisdom is the principal thing, but in all thy getting, get an understanding. And we've been in church, and we haven't gotten the understanding. And I told you before, the two most important decisions that you're ever going to make in your life, whether or not you're going to accept Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior of your life, and then secondly, who the person is that you're going to marry. There's got to be instruction. Whole lot of folk right now, you can't praise God good because of a crazy relationship you in, or one you came out of that damaged you so badly you can't trust anything or anybody. And I ain't talking about a man, I'm talking about God. The last man, last woman jacked you up so bad, you wish you would trust something else, including God. Look at your neighbor and say, no, we're going to do better. We're going to do better. The devil is a liar. We're going to do better. So you got to understand that there are stages in a relationship. Let me go further. You got to go through the stages. Stage one is the infatuation. All right? Now, here's the danger of not going through the stages. It takes a long time, they say, to really get to know a person. It takes a long time to really get to know a person. Don't be misled by what you see in the beginning. When a relationship is new and fresh, people tend to be on their best behavior. They're on their best behavior, and you on yours. They say a person may be quite different after the relationship is established and has become ordinary and routine. Therefore, they say don't make long-term commitments during the first phase of the relationship. It is all right to commit yourself to spending more time with the person or to agree to be exclusive with the person while you're developing the relationship and getting to know each other better, or while you are going through the stages. Let me go a little further. Another writer says, when we really begin to like other people or like each other as people, we tend to become more forgiving of each other's shortcomings. Consequently, sometimes couples skip the 4 stages of relationships, watch this, and go from infatuation or attraction to engagement or intimacy. Watch this. And don't take time to really get to know each other. They say having sex too soon can diminish a man's desire to get to know a woman better. Taking the time to get to know you is the foundation on which to build a healthy and successful relationship. Oh, let me press right through here. In other words, if he or she is going to love you, they've got to know you. And so if you really want someone to know you, you've got to go through the processes. Why? Because you can have a relationship with somebody's body and not have a relationship with them. In other words, too many of us have fell in love with a body and have never known the soul. Here's the problem. There's no good thing that dwelleth in the flesh. In other words, you cannot move from stage 1, infatuation, to stage 4, engagement or intimacy. You got to go through steps 2 and 3, because in steps 2 and 3, or stages 2 and 3, and the time period that you are in there, it is a part of you getting to know the person. Oh my God. Which is going to secure and anchor the relationship. But what most of us will do is we'll go from stage 1 immediately to stage 4. Now, again, half of the problem is we didn't even know that there were any stages involved. In other words, you were shooting yourself and didn't even know you were shooting yourself. You was killing your own stuff and didn't even know you was killing your own stuff. You just thought, I'm in love, I want it, they want me, this is going further. Let's go ahead and do what we feel like. Oh, God. What you got to understand is if you are moving from stage 1 to stage 4, watch this, you got to understand this. Let me tell you what the most powerful drug in this world is. It's not crack. It is not heroin. It is not LSD. The most powerful mind-altering, spirit-altering drug that is facing humanity is sex, sex. Oh, God, look at somebody and tell them sex will have you tripping. Look at somebody else and tell them sex will have you tripping. Sex will, look at somebody, look, tell 3 people it will have you tripping. It'll have you tripping, man. I ain't telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know. Sex will have you tripped out. You be walking around your house talking, I'm tripping. What's wrong with me? Man, I'm tripping. I'm sitting here putting up with all this foolishness. I must be tripping. Crazy and everything, and I'm doing all this, and they taking me through all that. I must be tripping. No, baby, you're high on sex. Sex is the greatest hallucinogen that has ever hit the world. Sex will have you hallucinating. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you how powerful it is. It is so powerful, you don't even know it's working. Look at somebody and tell it will have you tripping. Look at, tell them the truth. It will have you tripping. It will have you tripping. It is a hallucinogen. It will have your mind going. It will have your mind believing stuff that is not true. It will have your mind thinking stuff that is not true. And let me help somebody in here. A lot of us, the only reason you thought what you thought about the person and really felt the way that you felt about them is because you were having sex with them. I tell folk all the time, I say, have you not noticed that it is far easier for you to break up with somebody whom you have not had sex with than it is for you to break up with somebody that you've had sex with? Yeah, let me tell you what it is. You're on Fantasy Island. You think that there's something going on more than what is really going on. See, I'm moving beyond the soul tie because everybody would get deep and say, oh, soul tie, soul. Listen, let me break it down for you so that you understand it in practical terms. You are on Fantasy Island, and you are thinking that there is more there than that is really there. And something is happening that is not really happening. But you are delusional because you have stepped into the arena of sex. And it is hard for you to stay rooted and grounded and clear once you start having sex. Once you start having sex with somebody, you're a little bit more easily angered. You're upset faster. You expect a whole lot more. You're looking at things completely different. As a matter of fact, you ain't married, but you'll start acting like you are married. That's because you're delusional. So you start thinking he's supposed to be treating you like that's your husband. That ain't your husband. You're on relationship crack. So when he's not acting that way, now you got a problem. How come you didn't call me? I saw you talking to so-and-so. What is that all about? Oh, that's a good place to praise him. Y'all don't want to be honest in here. Y'all don't want to be real in here. So you're walking around high, and you're trying to deal with somebody. And let me tell you what happens. Then you stop having the sex. Now, it's like I'm no longer high, and I'm sober, and I'm coming down. And then I come down now. There's a reality that I got to deal with that I hadn't dealt with because I was high. But now I ain't high, and I'm looking at you and talking, what in the world is going on? Seems to me we don't have anything in common. What are you talking about? Now it's always fussing and fighting. It's no agreement. And then the solution becomes, let me go get high again. Because I can deal with you better when I'm high. In other words, I can deal with you better as long as we're sexing. But if we ain't sexing, we ain't got too much going on. That's what you have got to find out. Anybody can deal with somebody while you're high. While you're sexing, everything looks wonderful. Oh, he ain't got no problems. The only problem is when we get up out. Oh, y'all don't want to be honest in here. And don't let the sex be good. Help, please. Give me something right here, because it's getting a little rough and rocky in here now. It's getting a little rough and rocky. And then, see, some of us don't want to deal with the fact that we're cracked out. I can't let this thing go. Yeah, I need to be delivered. Help me, please. Give me something right here. So you start that, and instantaneously you get off the track. You get out of the stages. You've skipped all the way to something, you see. But you have erased or taken away the potential for you to authentically to get to know the person. Because in order for you to get to that agape, you got to know them. But to know them, you got to go through the stages. You can't skip the stages. And so next thing you know, you don't jump from infatuation, attraction, I like you, you turn me on, we have a good time, now we sleeping together. Now we sleeping together, so we might as well go ahead and get married. We like each other, we feeling all of this, but you don't even understand how high you are and how drugged up you are until one day you stop having the sex for a while. And in those periods, you start having to deal with the one that you're with. And now you're getting to know this person. But see, now you're on the back end because you don't make plans to get married. Or you're already married. And so now it's kind of like, oh, what is this? We need help. I'm getting out. This ain't working. I didn't know this. He's crazy. She's a lunatic. Well, why didn't you know it earlier? You were too high to know it. See, because if you stay sober long enough and you go through the stages, maybe you will get married and maybe you won't. But you will make a good, solid decision. Ain't no rabbits jumping out the hat. You got to go through the stages. And if you find somebody that you really like, take the time to get to know them. To find out what it could be, because if it is, it's worth going through the process. But it's understandable that many of us have skipped over and jumped into, right? Because if I didn't know there were any stages, well, what chance did I stand? The people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Now, brother and sister, now, mother and father, when you know better, do better. Do better. Take the time to get to know them. Go through the processes of getting to know someone. We're going to talk further about it because, see, the other part of it is really if you're used to just jumping from 1 to 4 and not even knowing that there is a 1, 2, 3, and 4, what it kind of implies is that getting to know. What do you mean getting to know? The question then becomes, how do I really get to know somebody? Because the reality is, I'm not used to that. And most of us aren't. We're used to being led by our feelings. The biological, the eros love. And so I just move into a thing. And I take it from there. And so the next question becomes, do you really know how to get to know someone? And let me help somebody in here. Getting to know someone takes more than taking them out to dinner. It's more than taking somebody to a movie. It's more than strolling through the park. It's more than sitting back and watching a movie, laughing and giggling. Telling somebody the other day, getting to know somebody, Sister Hope, is a skill. And most of us don't have the skill set to get to know somebody. And so watch this. When you have run out of ammunition on how to getting to know somebody, logic, the flesh takes over. Physical takes over. Now, what are we going to talk about? I don't know what to talk about. Next thing you know, somebody touching somebody. Why? Because we ain't got nothing else to talk about. Conversation ain't really moving nowhere. If you can have good conversation with somebody, you can bring that flesh and the physicality part under subjection. See, because at the end of the thing, I ain't got to be all up on you, baby. We can talk good. Watch this. When you know what to talk about, here's the problem again. Most of us don't know what to talk about or the kind of questions to ask to really get to know somebody, to qualify them one way or the other. Oh, you ain't got to say amen. I'll say it for you. You got to learn how to talk to a potential man. You got to learn how to talk to a potential woman. You got to learn certain things to ask, certain things to listen for. I'm not saying that you just can't have casual conversation. Yeah, you can have casual conversation, but some of that conversation also needs to be intentional. Why? Because I want to really get to know you. I just don't want to sleep with you. I want to get to know you. I just don't want to have sex with you. I want to get to know you. How do I do it? How do I do it? We're going to get all through this. We're going to get all deep down in there. Yeah. What kind of questions do I really need to ask that are going to be pertinent, that are going to be relative, that will speak to the longevity or the potentiality of the longevity of a relationship? Because I don't want to just be married, man. I want to be happy. I just don't want to be married. I want to have some joy. I just don't want to be going home at night. I want to go home. I want to see my wife. I want to see my husband. I want to be with the one. Touch your neighbor and tell him, I want the best that marriage offers. I want the best that a marriage can give. I want the best kind of